Hello, it's early February now, so now is the time to start chitting your potatoes. If you've ordered them via an online company, they should have arrived by now. If not, then they'll most probably arrive very, very soon. But if you go to a garden centre or a garden nursery, then they should have a load on display that you can buy and bring home. But February is the perfect time to start chitting your potatoes. Now, chitting potatoes is basically, all it means is that you let little shoots grow from your seed potatoes. Now, these shoots you want to be short and stumpy. You don't want them to be long and thin, because when you plant them out in the garden, which we will do, or on your allotment, wherever you plant them outside, when we plant them out, which will be middle to the end of March-ish, depending on the weather. If it's really cold, we might end up leaving it until April. But when you put them in the soil, if you've got long, thin shoots, then they will break off very, very easily, and then you'll be back to square one. If you've got short, stumpy shoots, then they won't break off. They will stay attached to the potato, and from that's where the other potatoes come from. So you'll get shoots coming up and you'll get shoots going out and all sorts. It's fabulous. I just wish I could actually plant them and see them, how they grow. It must be absolutely fascinating, but you only get to see the tops until you dig them up, and then it's a lovely surprise. So what I'm going to show you is how I chit my potatoes. There are a few things that you need to remember when you're chitting your potatoes. Make sure they're in a frost-free place. They also need to be able to see light very easily. So don't chit them in a dark garage, because if you do, then you'll get your long spindly shoots because they'll be stretching for the light. The best place to chit them is either in your greenhouse or on a windowsill in your house, or if you've got a potting shed right by the window there. So as close as you can get them to the light is the best thing. Also be aware of what tray or container you chit them in. You want it to be something that is either plastic or metal. You don't want something that is cardboard, because if one of them starts to rot, or if the cardboard gets damp, then it could rot the seed potatoes and then it's all gone. So this year I'm going to actually chit mine in the greenhouse, because there's loads of light in the greenhouse. It does get quite cold in the greenhouse, so what I'm going to do is, once I've put some on a tray, then I'll put a propagator lid over the top of them, just to give them a little bit more protection. Now, there are so many different varieties to choose from, so it's entirely up to you which one you want to get, but whichever potatoes you are going to get, then you chit them in exactly the same way. So let me show you how I do mine. So I'm going to chit mine in my trays here. Make sure you don't overfill the tray. You just want your potatoes on one layer. Now, I've got 3 bags of potatoes here, and they're all the same variety. They're all Sarpo Mira. I like Sarpo Mira because I find that they tend not to get blight. There are lots of Sarpos, so if you want to grow Sarpos, then do, but as I say, there are lots of different varieties to choose from, so whichever one you want to grow. They grow quite large. I know this one's quite small, but they grow quite large, and they are quite dry potatoes, but they are a good all-rounder. Now, hopefully you can see that they have started to chit already, which is fine, but these will get even bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check round each potato. If you come across any potatoes that have got mould on them or any soft spots, then I would suggest you get rid of those. because if there is damage on one of them, then you may well find that it actually goes all the way through, and it could damage all the rest of them, and then you won't have any. So just lay them in a single layer. If you've got an egg box, you can put them in the egg box. If when you're putting them in here you knock some of the little chits off, don't worry, lots more will grow. Now I've got a little funny end here. I will put that one in. It feels quite firm actually, so I'm going to keep it separate from the others, and I will keep an eye on it. If it suddenly goes soft, then I will remove it, but I will pop it there for the time being. So just put them in a single layer. You don't want them on top of each other. Make sure they've got a bit of space. Actually, I won't put that one in. I'll put that one in another tray. Make sure they've got a bit of space to breathe. So I think that'll be it for one tray. So I'll carry on doing the rest, and when I've done them all, then I will show you. So there are all my potatoes. Make sure that you've put a label in so that if you've got different varieties, you know which varieties you've got, or which tray is which variety. So that's those done. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of the little propagator lids over the top like that, just to give them a little bit of extra protection. They can still see the light all the way through, so I will leave them like that. I think I'll move them down to the shelf slightly lower down. I won't put them on the bottom because it will be cooler on the bottom, but I think the middle shelf will be absolutely fine for them. And they will just stay there until I'm ready to plant them out. So these potatoes I will just leave, and I will just check on about once a week just to make sure that they're doing okay. They should be fine. Obviously you don't need to water them, but what you've got to keep an eye on is just in case any of them start to go a little bit soft. If you've got one that's slightly mouldy, that one that little bit that's come off, I'm just going to keep an extra special eye on that. And if it does start to go really, really soft, I will just take it out and I will throw it away because I don't want it to damage the rest. But they will stay in the greenhouse. They will be quite happy in here until I sow them out, hopefully middle to the end of March, but again, it depends on the weather. It may well be April, but when I do that, then I will show you. Well, I hope you're growing potatoes this year. I know some people say, oh, what's the point of growing potatoes because they're really cheap in the shops. Yes, they are really cheap in the shops, but the flavour of freshly harvested potatoes of your own have so much more flavour. And if you've got an area in your garden that you are turning into a vegetable patch and it hasn't been dug before, then potatoes are a great plant to have growing because the potatoes will actually break up that soil. So they're fantastic to use. And I do like potatoes. I think new potatoes out of the ground are just absolutely stunning. So whichever varieties, whether you're growing your first, seconds, earlies, mids, lates, whatever, start chitting them as soon as possible, and then they will be absolutely ready and perfect with lovely little short stumpy chits, which is what we want, ready for you to plant in the garden. Well, I hope you found that useful, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.